Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you how to make a very delicious and very versatile and very simple bread recipe. I'm going to show you 10 ways I like to make this recipe. So what you're going to need, we're going to start off with all-purpose flour. You're going to need a stick of butter. It's 2 sticks of butter, but you're just going to need 1 stick. That's just what I had. You're going to need some active dry yeast. You're going to need 1 room temperature egg, 1 cup of milk that we're going to warm, a tablespoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. We're going to warm the milk with the dry active yeast. I have my pot here on the stove. Cup of milk. I'm just going to warm it slightly. I just throw everything in there. The tablespoon of active dry yeast and the tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to watch it carefully because you don't want it to start simmering or boiling with the yeast in there. You don't want to kill the yeast. This is just the way I do it. While that's heating up, I'm just going to crack my egg. I like to crack it in a separate vessel from my bowl because this is a farm fresh egg and you just never know. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 cups of flour to my bowl. This is going to make 1 loaf of bread. I like to double it, triple it, quadruple it, depending on what I'm making that day. So 3 cups of flour. There we go. Roughly 3 cups of flour. 1 teaspoon of salt. You gotta get stuck to the bottom there, but roughly 1 teaspoon of salt. And just gonna get something to whisk it real quick. Mix it up. We'll put in our warm milk. Should actually be ready by now. It's just not quite. We'll add in the 1 egg, and I will slice my butter. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slice my butter in half. Since this equates to 2 sticks of butter, I'm just going to go straight down the middle here, find the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect anyways. And the thing I like to do is just slice it up into tiny cubes. Let me move this out the way. We're done with that anyways. I just like to slice it into little cubes. Nothing fancy, a rough chop. Just to help incorporate it into the dough mixture. Don't have to be so serious with bread making, you know. You can just chop it up. Just toss it around. Just kind of all over the place so it doesn't stick together mostly. So 1 stick of butter. It doesn't even have to be frozen, just cold so it'll stay together. I think I let this get too hot, but hopefully I didn't kill the yeast. Yeah, it's pretty hot. So I'm just going to pour my milk right in there. And this is really simple. All I'm going to do now is just start to mix it and form a dough. Just incorporate it well. I have a little bit stuck on my spatula, so, and that's fine because you can mix this with your hands if you wanted to. I just didn't want to. And there's one more ingredient that I forgot to add. And that is olive oil, or an oil of your choice. I choose olive oil. Just a little drizzle will do. And this is mainly just to keep the dough from sticking to your bowl. And it also keeps it from sticking to your hand so bad. So I just go in and this is butter, not dough, to be honest. My dough is well incorporated. You can see the chunks of butter in there. So, well incorporated, and I like to use a bowl shower cap, if you will, to cover it. So you're just going to cover it and let it sit for 30 minutes. So I'm going to put my timer on for 30 minutes. And when the timer goes off, we're going to do our shaping and our second rise. So we'll let that rise for 30 minutes and we'll be back. Welcome back, you guys. I have to clarify something before we get into the larger batch of this recipe. I wasn't paying attention to my notes, and I put a whole entire stick of butter in that last recipe. It only calls for 3 tablespoons, so please pay attention to the caption under the bottom of that screen. You really only need 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm sure that bread is going to be delicious and extremely buttery. So if you want it extremely buttery, go ahead and add an entire stick of butter. It won't hurt the recipe at all. I just wanted to let you know that I did make a mistake, because this recipe actually calls for a whole stick of butter. So let's make it right. All right, let's get into it. So I am going to make a triple batch. And what I'm going to do is 9 cups of flour, roughly. I'm not using a scraper or anything. So that's 1. We're going to do 9. Nine cups of flour. Next, we're going to do 3 teaspoons of salt. I don't have my teaspoon ready. Sorry about that. And I'm going to do 3 teaspoons of salt. I have 3 cups of milk warming. It's ready, prepared this time. And what I'm going to do is add 2 tablespoons of yeast. 2 tablespoons of yeast and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm going to gently stir that just to incorporate it all and let it sit for a minute. And while that is incorporating, I am going to actually mix in my salt and flour, and then I'm going to add in 3 eggs. These are farm fresh eggs, so if you have chickens and you have farm fresh eggs, then you know to crack the eggs into a different vessel. Don't crack it straight into your bowl because you just never know what you're going to get. So these are fresh eggs picked from the chicken coop today. So should be good. There's 1. Perfect eggs, perfect eggs. There's 2. All 3 of them are perfect. There's 3. Now while we wait on the, uh-oh, this got stuck. The yeast and sugar to finish, we'll add in our butter. This is an entire stick of butter. This recipe actually calls for an entire stick of butter, so go ahead and put your full stick of butter. I chopped it into cubes already. And we're just going to add in our milk and yeast and sugar. You can tell it's starting to puff up a little bit, so I think our yeast is alive. It's safe. Just pour all of that yummy liquid in. And we're just going to incorporate it all. You can totally use your hands. I don't love using my hands, especially when I don't need to. But if that's something that you want to do, or you have little kids helping you and they want to get messy, by all means, go ahead and mix it with your hands. I think I'm going to have to get in there with my hands, because it's just a lot. So what I'm going to do to keep the sticking from getting too bad is I'm going to add a little olive oil to my hands. And just going to start incorporating it all. And as it incorporates, it will start to get less and less sticky. It's just a part of that incorporation process. All that delicious butter. That first loaf is going to be super buttery. All right, we're going to set this to the side and let it rise. I need it 1 or 2 more times. But it's a beautiful dough. All right, and I'm just going to drizzle it just a little with a small amount of olive oil. All right, and I'm going to cover it with a towel. You can use plastic wrap. There's our alarm for the other dough. So set this to the side. Actually, Okay, one more thing. Sorry. I actually took this shower cap off the other day, and I'm just going to slightly put it around it because you really want that humidity to help this dough to rise, but I don't have a shower cap big enough for the entire bowl. Then I will cover it. If you have a bigger plastic, that'll be enough. So here is our other dough. Gonna flour our surface lightly and put it on this surface, and we gonna slightly flour it. Too much isn't necessary because all we're gonna do is shape this into a loaf. So that's a lot of butter. Woo, child! If you like buttery bread, you gonna love this recipe. This was a beautiful accident. So go ahead and look at that butter. It's just, oh my gosh, this is probably going to be the best loaf of bread I ever made before in my life. It's hilarious. Don't you love it when mistakes come alive? You just turn into something wonderful. Okay, so right now I'm just stretching it to about the size of my pan, my loaf pan. And I am going to quickly butter the inside of my loaf pan. And then I'll put a parchment paper down so it can easily slide out. Let me wash my hands real quick. All right, get a little butter, a little pat of butter. Buttering of this pan. It helps with the parchment paper sticking. Let me put that to the side. Took me a bit to get that out. But I like to use parchment paper in my bread baking because it just makes it so much easier for that dough to come right on out. And it helps to butter it so that the liner will stick. You don't have to do this. You don't have to put a liner. I just do. Just to avoid any issues, but as buttery as that bread is, I don't think you're gonna have many problems. So you just basically pick your bread up off the counter, put it in here, and it is going to rise a second time. So I'm gonna put another shower cap over it, or a bread cap, plastic cap. So you can use a Ziploc bag. You can use plastic wrap, saran wrap, whatever you have, to put over it so that it can cause a heat warming kind of effect, and it will help the bread to rise better. So I'm going to get me another cap. I'm just going to put it over here like this. And I'm going to give this another 30 minutes to rise. While that's rising, I'll just clean up my little workstation, and I will see y'all when the triple batch is done. And we're going to make some fun stuff with that. Okay, you guys, so this is ready to go into the oven. Our buttery loaf is ready to go into the oven. What I'm going to do is put a quick egg wash on it. You don't really have to do this. It's a preference. Your bread's still going to come out good if you don't do it. So, yeah, I'm just going to whisk one egg to make an egg wash. So, got the egg yolk and white mixed well, and that's how you make an egg wash. And then I'm just going to lightly brush that on. Lightly brush that on with my fork. If you have a barbecue brush, that's better. I don't really have one, so I'm just going to slightly brush it on with my fork. And that works. So that's how you do an egg wash. Now this beauty is going to go into the oven, and I think it's going to bake wonderfully. And I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes so that could bake. And then our triple recipe is ready. Look how beautiful. It's beautiful. I love this. So that's ready to come out. I don't want to lose any of this butter, so I'm just going to swipe it off the pan and put it in my dough, because butter is the best part of this bread, I promise. Okay. And from here, I am just going to separate this all out into 3 portions. So let me get my bench scraper. Okay, got my bench scraper ready, and I'm just going to eyeball my 3 sections. First section, I am going to make a regular loaf since it has a regular amount of butter in it. The other loaf is going to be extra buttery, so I just wanted to see what the difference would be. So just gonna, I just slightly like fan it out, you know. You can roll it out if you want. You can use a rolling pin. I just kind of press it out with my fingers, and then I start to shape it. So just kind of stretch it, fold it, and then I'll do that one more time, roughly, not even like all the way. And I'm going to form a loaf to fit into my loaf pan. So this is what I do. Just gonna kind of roll it up. And you see that? That is a beautiful. That's gonna make a beautiful loaf, and I make that about the length of my bread pan. So let me get my other bread pan out. Wasn't really prepared for this, but just going to drop this parchment paper to just sort of line my pan again. I like to do that just in case. Then I'm just going to drop it in there and let it come to a rise. So, reuse my shower cap. Sorry. I'm going to reuse my shower cap with this one, because there's no need in throwing one away when all it is just covered in butter. We're going to let that rise for another 30 minutes before we put that in the oven. Okay, so now we're going to make our dough, roll out our dough for our pull-apart bread. This one is so fun. You just make enough to make 10, 12 little balls. Doesn't have to be perfect, really. It depends on how many you're feeding, how many you want to make this for. I think about 12 or so little balls do good for my family. We have a medium-sized family, I think. And you just create these little balls. Let me show you how I just did that. So I just cut off a medium-sized little piece, and I stretch it out a little bit. Then I just start to fold it into itself. See? Fold it into itself. And it's going to start to get some kind of a tension to it, and that's when you know you're pretty much about ready. Then you just kind of pinch the bottom like that to seal it. Let's do that again. So I want you to feel confident when you're doing this. So I'm just going to stretch it. You see how loose that is? It's so easily stretched. When you're folding and pulling, you're creating tension in that little thing. And you're going to feel that it starts to get stronger. The elasticity is starting to build up. So the bottom, this is the bottom. I'm just going to pinch it together once I'm done building my tension in there. And this is going to create layers within the roll so that when you go to eat it, it is going to be like flaky-ish. It's going to be layery. It's going to be really good. So I'm just going to keep doing that, repeating that process until I have as many balls as this dough will allow me to make. The goal is 12. I might have more. I roughly estimated how much dough to cut, so it's not like I cut a certain weight. I didn't have a food scale out because when I'm making this for my family, I don't usually have a food scale out. So you don't really need one. You can just kind of roughly eyeball how much you want in each thing. So look how beautiful that is. So not all of them will be the same size, but we'll get them close. Doesn't have to be perfect. It will be delicious. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it will be delicious. So I feel that tension building up. And so I am going to start pinching the bottom to bring all those edges together. And all those layers are inside. So every time you stretch and fold it, you created a layer. So when you stretch and fold it, you've created layers. And it's building in that tension. It's building up that elasticity. And it is going to make for some amazing layers and delicious rolls that everybody's going to want some of. This is a perfect addition to any dinner. Pasta, maybe you're having stew. This would be delicious with that. Or just as a appetizer before you have a meal. If you pair this with a garlic butter or a honey butter or melted honey butter or melted garlic butter. I mean, this is just delicious for dipping. That just fell right apart. But once you build that elasticity, it will not rip apart like that. So it's just a little stretch and fold, a little miniature stretch and fold. There's no rhyme or reason, just making sure you're stretching and folding it into itself. And then when you feel that tug, that elasticity build up, you're going to feel it. Then you just start to pinch the inside, create this little ball. Perfection. Perfection. So, do that again. You're creating layers on the inside of the buns. Takes a few seconds. Doesn't even take long. But it is going to be absolutely delish. Look at that. Oh my gosh, just looks so yummy. Just this part alone looks delicious. I'm so excited to eat this. I love this bread recipe because it is almost impossible to mess up. There's been times when I've accidentally forgot the salt and it still came out good. Or I forgot the butter and it came out good. Or I forgot the egg. Not all the things at once, but there's been times when I was first learning this recipe that I did forget a step or so. And you know what? It was fine. It was delicious. My family gobbled it up all the same. So enjoy learning how to do this. Those aren't exactly the right sizes, but it will be fine. Let me get a dish to put that in. I think I'll use a round dish. Okay, and I'm going to use my parchment paper again because I like no fuss. I like the no fuss approach. Just going to use a knife to, this isn't going to be perfect, it's just going to go, in the bottom of the pan. Use this softened stick of butter to lightly coat that. Just enough to get the paper to stick in. And we're just gonna put this in here. And we're gonna let it rise again. And it's just gonna be the best. You're gonna see. It is going to legitimately be the best. Let's get a shower cap for this. Should we? We're going to let it rise for another 30 minutes. All right, put my timer on for that. Next, this is one of my most beloved recipes for my kids. And that is a cinnamon roll recipe. You need softened butter. This butter isn't very softened, but I might end up actually melting it. All right, you guys, welcome back to the course. With this 10-in-1 recipe, we are making cinnamon rolls with this. I wanted to set a segment aside to show you how to make this cinnamon roll filling. This is a maple cinnamon roll filling. It's really, really delicious. So I wanted to show you how I'm going to do that. So I have 1 stick of butter melted. If your stick of butter has been sitting out, and it's already soft, you can use that. Mine wasn't, so I melted it. What we're trying to go for here is a paste consistency. So this is 1 cup of sugar. Two teaspoons of cinnamon, roughly. You just measure with your heart. I don't really think you can go wrong with these measurements. And half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And let me see. We're going to do 1/8 of a cup of maple syrup. I might decide to add a little bit more later, but for right now, that's what we're going to do. And you're going to come up with a sugary type paste. Oh my gosh, that looks amazing. I'm going to add a little bit more maple syrup. So maybe this would be, if you're measuring and you need measurements, let's do 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup all together. Oh my gosh, look how divine. Divine. And we're going to do 1 pinch of salt because, oh, you need 1 pinch of, we're going to add 1 pinch of salt to this just to bring out the sweetness and balance everything out. Because everybody knows that salt makes everything better. Getting that, let me show you that. Okay. You do a 1 pinch. And it is a true pinch, okay? Look at that, true pinch, okay, of salt. And that's how we make our inside for our cinnamon rolls. Now let's roll out our dough. The dough recipe is the same recipe. It's just the third piece. All right, we found our rolling pin. So you're going to roll it out into a rectangle. It really doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but the rolling pin helps you to get that shape. It's harder to get that shape with your fingers. It's totally doable. But this is makes things way easier. Like I said, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So I've seen people use jars or something that they have on hand to do this. You want to make some form of a rectangle. And then we're going to go and spread our filling. And it's going to be the best maple cinnamon rolls you've ever had. The dough is just right. The sweetness is just right. You're going to have a little caramelization. That's my favorite part. These cinnamon rolls are a 10 out of 10. And I love to make cinnamon rolls for people. I just feel like it just makes people happy. Makes people happy. Everybody loves a good sweet treat. All right. And we're going to just spread our maple sugar mixture all over this. And I think I'm going to use a spoon instead of a fork, just because I think it'll be better. Okay. I'm going to use a spoon to just pour it on. And then all we're going to do is take the back of the spoon and spread it. I'm going to use the back of the spoon and we're going to spread this cinnamon mixture all over. Get as close to the edges as you possibly can, because you want to make sure every bite of this cinnamon roll tastes amazing. Every single bite. And feel free to add more cinnamon if you want. Some people like more than others, so you have that liberty. It won't take away from anything. Now, if you only use softened butter and it's spreadable, you might not have this liquidy kind of consistency. It might be more of a paste, and that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It's going to taste amazing. Have fun with it. It's almost impossible to mess this up. So just enjoy yourself. Involve your kids if you can. And have fun. Watch those smiles once it's ready. And then what you're going to do now, we have our rolls ready. We're going to just start at the edge and slowly start rolling this into rolls. Look how beautiful that is. And we have one big log. That's gorgeous. All right. So if you've never known how they make perfect little circles with their cinnamon rolls, here's the trick. Non-flavored floss. So unflavored floss, waxed floss, regular floss. Get your casserole dish ready. I'm going to try to stack these as best I can. And you're going to scoop your floss underneath your log. Try to get all the way at the base. And then you're just going to crisscross. Just slice it. Woo! Perfect circle. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you're going to butter your dish already. My dish is already buttered. I'm going to put that perfect circle right there. How beautiful is that? Going to keep going underneath. About an inch or two. About 2 inches. And you're going to do that crisscross and pull. Perfect rings every time. Look at that. Perfect rings every time. Beautiful. I think that one was on the thick side, so I'm just going to go a little bit smaller. I have a little measuring tool here. I don't know why I wasn't using it. All right. Look at that. So pretty. In love. Absolutely in love. And if you've never gotten yourself one of these little measuring mats, this mat is perfection. I will leave a link to one in the description somewhere for you because it's easy to roll your dough out on. It has measuring help on it. You guys are going to want one if you don't have one. I usually kind of stuff them. So I'm going to do one more row. Push those to the side and just do one more row. I could totally just do 6, but I'm going to try to get 9 in the pan. And you can do what you want. If you want your rings to look perfect, then just do 6. And just, do another pan. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't mind mine looking stuffed, so. You pull tight. Oh, so beautiful. Beautiful. Just gonna get as many as I can in this pan. And we're gonna enjoy some cinnamon rolls with dinner tonight. My family loves this. All right. Alright, so here are our cinnamon rolls. I am going to make a maple glaze to go over top of these. These are going to be absolutely divine. So I'm going to put my shower cap on them and let them rise one more time. shower cap's gonna fit. Will it fit? I don't think it's gonna fit. Oh well. I'm just gonna stretch it until it kind of goes over it. No big deal, no big deal. There we go. It's on. My other loaves are ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to put them in the oven and should egg wash them. You don't have to egg wash, but I'm going to. Look at that. Let me get a fork. So this is the egg wash. Same egg wash I had earlier. No need to waste any eggs. So we're just going to egg wash this and put it in the oven. It is going to be so good. If you don't have one of those brushes, it's fine. Just use the back of a fork. All you need is it roughly brushed across. Even in a pinch, I've used my fingers, so it's perfectly fine. So we're just going to put these in the oven. And gonna let those bake for 30 minutes. All right, you guys, so the bread is finished. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It's a little hot, which is perfect. Perfect. Look at that loaf. Whew, so hot. So good. So yummy. Parchment paper worked beautifully. Look at that. This is the butter bread. The one where I put a whole stick of butter in. Let me get that first slice. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. If you could smell my kitchen right now, you guys. Woo! Look at that. It is crumbly. This bread is absolute perfection. Absolute perfection. Let's slice that. Ooh, my fingertips are burning. The bread is cooled and the rolls are cooling. Everything's done. Look how beautiful. Absolutely delicious. These recipes can be made Thanksgiving. I mean, people go to the store and they buy those Hawaiian rolls, but imagine if you show up to Thanksgiving dinner with these. The sky is the limit of flavorings. You can make them jalapeno cheddar. You can make them garlic rosemary. You can make them butter. You can make them any flavor that you want, and they will be amazing. Can't wait to tear into this, but we do need to let it cool for a little bit, so I'm really happy with the way they turned out. Rolls are going to go in. They have risen. Pray for the best. All right, 30 minutes in the oven. So now I'm going to make some maple butter and some sweet butter sauce, because the first time I made it, I just made it with sugar because it was a happy accident. But today I'm going to do honey butter because that's not a happy accident, that's intentional. Okay? So So we're going to make a really simple honey butter sauce. It is just that, honey and butter. But it is going to taste amazing on these rolls, even on your bread. So I'll take half a stick of butter, and I'm going to take a spoon, a heaping spoon of honey. Be generous because you want the honey to stand out. And thought I had my little silicone spatula ready, but apparently I don't, so it's fine. Get that honey out as best you can. If you can't get it out, you know what? Enjoy a nice cup of tea so you don't waste that honey. It's just not worth it. It's so good. So my butter is not as soft as I'd like it to be, but it's soft enough. So I'm just going to smash it up and mix that honey right on in with that butter. I'm using the back of my spoon by just pressing downward. Preferably, I like my butter to be a little bit softer, but this is fine. But if you had time to sit yours out for longer, then go ahead and do that. I don't want it melted because I don't want melted butter. I want honey butter. You can even add cinnamon to this if that's something that you'd like. And I'm just smashing the back of my spoon to create this smoothness that I want. And it is going to be absolutely delicious on that pull apart bread, even the sliced bread. Like I said, it's great on any addition to Thanksgiving dinner. If you're having family over for dinner, friends over for dinner, this is a great recipe to pull out of your arsenal. It's special, you know, and it's delicious. Everybody go back telling everybody how well you cook, how good of a baker you are. So now it's time to make our topping for our cinnamon rolls. They are in the oven. They're going to come out piping hot and delicious and smelling good and ready to go. So let's get our topping together. First, you're going to need some powdered sugar. We're going to do half a cup of powdered sugar. So this is a fourth of a cup. So I'll do that twice to make half a cup. We're going to do a fourth of a cup of, I don't really think we need to do a fourth of a cup. Let's do a tablespoon of maple syrup. And do a tablespoon of maple syrup to give it that maple flavor. And we're going to do a dash of vanilla extract. And a tablespoon of milk. So I'm going to pause right here because I got to get my milk out the fridge. So we're going to do a tablespoon of milk. And just going to take a fork or anything and just whisk it till we come up with a loose paste. You can add more powdered sugar if you like it thicker. I think this is actually going to be just the right texture. So this is actually perfect. And this is going to be the glaze that's going to go on top of our cinnamon rolls, or maple cinnamon rolls. Absolutely delicious. It's going to be really good. So it's going to be really good. All right. All right, so let us tear into these pull apart rolls. Look at that. Let's go right there. You see those layers of layering? It's definitely giving croissant vibes. You see that? It's awesome. And we're going to use a little bit of our honey butter over top. Hold on. Use our honey butter over top. That is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh, this is so good. If you don't make this for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I don't even know. Okay. Crumbly, but it's holding its shape a little bit more. Both look amazing. This one holds up better though for like sandwiches and such. Let's do a taste test, shall we? Oh yeah, that's really hot. All right. Let's add a little butter. A little butter or something on there. Take a little piece off the corner here. So good. Honestly, it's preference. Both of them are really good. I feel like the one with the 3 tablespoons of butter will definitely hold up better to sandwich bread. But if you just want toast or you just want to snack on some bread, this one's really good too with the full stick of butter. Now the butter I use is grass-fed, so that's why it's yellow, extremely yellow, because when cows are grazing on a lot of grass, their cream content is way more yellow, so the butter comes out really yellow. So I hope y'all enjoyed this lesson on how to make a very simple, very versatile bread recipe. We've made it multiple different ways. We're still waiting on the cinnamon rolls to come out the oven, but I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is so beautiful. Piping hot. So beautiful. Maple cinnamon rolls. Honestly, it doesn't even look like it needs icing, but for the sake of the course, and since we made icing, we will drizzle the icing. Oh my goodness, this looks divine. Absolutely divine. Absolutely divine. Ooh-wee. Dessert's gonna be good. Perfect holiday food, especially for the fall. Imagine waking up Thanksgiving morning to some maple cinnamon rolls. Your children, your family absolutely will love you. You know that scripture where it says, and her children will call her blessed? That's going to be you. One thing about my kids, they love that I bake for them. And I bake lots. I like to make their hearts happy. Baking is definitely the way to the heart. Oh my goodness. Ooh, man. Definitely added something to it. I like to get a little bit of glaze on every bite. So take your time spreading it. There's no rush. Nobody's rushing you. Maybe your kids are standing right next to you rushing you, but I'm not rushing you. No one takes these aprons too seriously, like carrying something from outside to inside because it gets hot. My new spatula. All right. Okay. Which one should I pull out? This tastes like fall. All right. Thank you for joining me for class today. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make all of these wonderful recipes from one recipe, one very simple recipe, very versatile. As you can see, the possibilities are endless. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I really hope you make something delicious for your family. Till next time, peace. Hi guys, what do y'all want? Cinnamon roll.
That one.
Oh yeah, pull apart bread.
I love the pull apart bread.
Yes, enjoy that cinnamon roll. It's delicious. Oh my gosh. You want some honey butter?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, how should I put this on the top? You're like, Mom, put that on the side. We'll put some on the top and on the side.